loofah. You've probably seen these cut up in shops and so forth, and if you're anything like me, you've looked at it and you're going, oh yeah, it's a little scrubbing brush thingamajig, and and then one day somebody informs you and shows you it's actually a plant. Like, what? It grows like it's related to a cucumber. Basically, it looks very similar to a cucumber when it's young. Apparently can actually be eaten much like a cucumber when it's young. But it's a plant. It grows and it's crazy. And then on top of that, if you can actually convince it to grow, they really grow quite voraciously and fast. So I'm going to have a go at that. Now, the other thing here, those are the seeds. So each one of these has oodles of seeds in it. So if you manage to get one from somebody, you're going to have a lot of attempts to actually get it right. So don't worry about it. This thing, and I'm still getting seeds out of it, so I got a pile of them. So let's just take a look at this. I was going to make a new intro, given that I made that one so long ago, but there was way too much enthusiasm in there because I'd only really recently discovered that loofah was actually a plant, and you just can't match that. It can't be faked. So sticking with that. So here is the results of my growing loofahs, and one of the things that I can tell you is they are very easy to grow. The biggest difficulty realistically that you're going to have is similar to pumpkins, is getting them to grow where you want them to grow and finding them growing in places that you were not expecting. Outside of that, let's take a look at what my results were. So I stuck a couple of seeds in some small pots and put them in my little mini greenhouse because they're a subtropical plant, so they like warm weather. But given that I am in the subtropics, they'll be pretty forgiving of, well, realistically, most of the time of year. But getting them going, and this is about, what, 2 weeks now since I actually stuck them in the dirt just to see. All right. But they love to climb. So if you want them and you're going to grow them in a pot, then you'll need a larger pot, obviously. But you need to give them something to climb on, or put them near something that they can climb on. Ideally, if you have the space, then set them in a garden bed or something with plenty of space to climb. It's been sitting here now, that's 3 weeks. It's quite a fast grower. But 2 weeks ago, I actually planted the others that had sprouted at the same time outside, and they basically stopped growing. It was too cold for them. So keeping them in here gives them a nice, good head start. They can grow, get some strength, and then once it warms up a little bit more, I can stick them out and they'll go nuts. So this here's the pot that I had it all in. This was actually in my greenhouse, my large greenhouse, for a while, and when that blew away, I ended up putting it here. So loofah vine in full swing. As you can see, she really likes to just about take over. Like, once it gets started and it's happy in a spot, it will go nuts. Here you got some very mature loofah fruit here. So as you can see, you definitely want to give it enough places to climb, because you can see the plant gets really large and likes to spread out, but the fruit also get to quite some large sizes, so you want to make sure there's a bit of strength in it as well. So basically, after a while, what will end up happening is they get to full ripeness and then they start to dry out like this. So if you allow it to dry on the vine, is generally a better idea, I do believe. You don't need to wait for it to go completely dry, but like this one as well. Obviously, if you're getting a lot of rain, then get it off there and let it dry out properly, under cover. And here I have another one growing, it would seem. It took me a bit to work it out, but I threw a couple of seeds in that pot there, and they seem to have decided to grow. So as you can see, it can actually grow relatively easily. So dried and matured loofah, now nicely peeled, and as you can see, lots and lots and lots of seeds. as an example, from one singular fruit. And that is enough to grow, well, a heck of a lot of plants. So you don't need much to get started. So there you have it, loofah. It's very easy to grow. All you need to do is get a hold of some seeds to start yourself with. Getting it to germinate initially can be the trickier part because it prefers warmer weather, but ultimately it seems to basically germinate and grow almost anywhere. It's just a matter of how quickly it will do it and whether it's going to do it in the location that you want. A little bit like pumpkin in that way, it would seem. Grows everywhere except where you want it to grow. Quite happy to grow in pots. Obviously you have to make sure it gets plenty of water if you're doing that, and regardless you need to make sure it's got somewhere to climb, otherwise you won't get the good sized fruit growing off it and allow it time to actually dry out properly before you get the rotting issue that you'll get with a lot of things in that cucumber and gourd family. Other than that, once it gets dried out, peel it, let it dry a little bit more, cut it up, and then you can use it for both washing yourself and dishes. Amazing plant. If you get it young enough, apparently it is actually edible, but it's not a lot of places that generally bother with that, but it is actually something you can do, similar to a cucumber. Beyond that, experiment, keep on growing. Catch you next time, and please subscribe if you're finding this interesting.